with regard to Yamal, the parallels, I'll just go over this again because they're absolutely striking, and I'll get Freddie's comment on this. First of all, the exact talking point, European countries becoming overly dependent on Russian gas. That was one of them. The other is the U.S. offered, Reagan said, no, we'll provide you with coal, very much like LNG being shipped over the Atlantic. And that was a non-starter for Europe because they needed coal conversion plants and things like that. They said, oh, no, we'll send you coal. Then we have the other one that's a parallel was Reagan temporarily lifted the embargo. And Biden did the same thing in the interim with Nordstream. And that created a sense of, it released the pressure a little bit. But while that was happening, the covert operation was being mounted behind the scenes. So it was a kind of a diplomatic bait and switch by the U.S. government. They did that tactic twice. They did it with Yamal, and they kind of did it the same with Nordstream. And then the public would say, oh, Biden's giving concessions to the Russians, Biden's weak. But in the meantime, the Nord Stream sabotage was being planned and executed at that time during the interim period. So that was interesting. The other one was the fact that obviously Germany being the fulcrum of both operations in terms of the transit hub, and the CIA assessment and the pipeline damage and what that did to the Soviet economy as well. But it was the thing they were most concerned about was, which was interesting, was they sold this within the intelligence community, preventing Soviet influence in European affairs. But what they really wanted to do, there was a level of interdependency. So if the Europeans were basically they had a pipe for gas deal where the Europeans were providing steel pipes and the Russians were paying them with gas. That's how they got the project up and running. And then the Europeans were giving them technology, so the Russians didn't have to develop their own technology. So that kind of interdependence, it kind of created a kind of security guarantee between Western Europe and the Soviet Union, and it created potential for friendship and stability. That's what the U.S. wanted to intervene and disrupt, was the potential for friendship, stability. And what happened in the end, Russia ended up being self-sufficient anyway. They ended up developing their whole end-to-end gas industry. And so it was going to happen anyway. The United States was trying to disrupt it in the 80s, and it didn't work. And here we go again, Freddie. It's like history repeating itself.